The room erupts in applause, while the CEO gestures proudly at the giant screen behind him. 40% fewer equipment failures this year, he announces. Hundreds of employees clap. My stomach drops. Because 2 weeks earlier, I filed the report proving those numbers were wrong. Dangerously wrong. My name is Tyler Brennan, and in that moment, I realized something chilling. The company wasn't ignoring the truth. Someone had already replaced it. The chart glows brightly on the projector. Perfect green trend lines. Declining failures. A beautiful story for shareholders. But I know the raw logs behind those numbers. The machines didn't improve. They got worse. Which means only one thing. The data had been changed. I keep clapping. Not because I agree. Because stopping would draw attention. If the report I submitted vanished, someone high up must know. And if they know, speaking now would only expose me. 2 weeks earlier, I had been alone in my office. Failure logs spread across 3 monitors. Patterns emerging slowly. Machine 12. Machine 18. Machine 24. All failing repeatedly. One nearly injuring a technician. So, I did my job. I documented everything. The report took 3 days. Maintenance records. Technician interviews. Operational data. When I finally uploaded the safety warning to the review system, I believed leadership would act immediately. Because the system existed for one reason: to prevent accidents. But the days that followed were strange. No response. No follow-up. No questions. At first, I assumed the report was being reviewed. Now I understood something worse. They had rewritten it. The morning after the town hall, I logged into the safety database. My report still existed, but the details were gone. 3 major failures had been reclassified as routine servicing, as if the incidents never happened. Later that afternoon, a technician approached my desk. Ryan Carter. He spoke quietly. "Did you change that incident log?" I shook my head. Ryan frowned. "Because someone told me to simplify the report yesterday." I reopened the system logs. 1 change might be a clerical error. 2 could be miscommunication. But by the 5th record, the truth became impossible to ignore. Failures were being quietly relabeled, systematically. 2 days later, I was summoned upstairs. The safety director waited behind a polished glass desk. Andrew Walker. He didn't accuse me of anything. Instead, he smiled politely. Some reports create unnecessary alarm. The message beneath the words was unmistakable. Stop digging. Walking back to my office, something felt wrong. Not defensive wrong. Strategic wrong. Walker never denied the changes. He simply discouraged curiosity. That afternoon, I walked across the production floor. Technicians stood beside the same machines whose failures had disappeared from the records. Laughing. Working. Trusting the system designed to protect them. They had no idea the safety reports had been rewritten. I sat in my office staring at the screen. 2 choices. Ignore the inconsistencies. Or verify everything myself. I chose verification. Most employees never access the archive servers, but analysts like me could. The system kept historical backups of every safety report. When I opened the archived version of my report, the truth appeared instantly. The original failures were there, exactly as I documented them. But the current system version was different. Sections deleted. Language softened. Risk levels lowered. Someone had edited the narrative. I began quietly documenting everything. Original logs. Edited logs. System timestamps. I wasn't accusing anyone yet. I was preserving the timeline. Another technician approached me near the break room. He lowered his voice. "You're not the only one who noticed reports changing." I looked at him carefully. "Why hasn't anyone said anything?" He shrugged. Because people who ask questions stop getting invited to meetings. Over the next week, Walker appeared near my desk more often. Casual conversations, friendly questions, comments about workload. It felt less like supervision and more like surveillance. One evening, while reviewing archived messages, I found something unexpected. An email thread discussing data smoothing. The sender? A vice president in operations. This wasn't one manager hiding mistakes. The company had built an entire narrative around improving safety. And that narrative depended on numbers looking better every quarter, which meant the truth was inconvenient. Another company-wide meeting was scheduled. More announcements, more celebration. But now I understood the story behind the numbers. The morning of the meeting, a senior engineer approached me. Thomas Gallagher. Quiet. Respected. Your report, he said carefully. I noticed something similar. Gallagher closed my office door before speaking again. I've been tracking maintenance failures independently. His numbers matched mine. Exactly. Gallagher suggested a careful strategy. No accusations. No confrontation. Just verified evidence presented to the Internal Audit Committee. Quietly. Together, we prepared the data package. Every log verified. Every edit timestamped. No opinions. Only facts. Weeks passed. Nothing happened publicly. But subtle changes appeared. Executives stopped mentioning safety statistics in meetings. Then the audit requests began. Emails. Maintenance records. Server access logs. People started whispering in hallways. Walker called me into his office again. His tone colder now. You should have brought concerns to me first. I met his eyes calmly. I did. The auditors confirmed our findings. Safety records had been modified repeatedly, deliberately, by policy. Executives could no longer deny the inconsistencies. The narrative of perfect improvement collapsed. Quietly at first, then publicly. A company-wide email arrived. An independent safety review would begin immediately. Several managers were placed on administrative leave, including Walker. Technicians reacted with relief, not anger, relief, because the problems could finally be fixed. Safety reporting procedures changed immediately. Direct technician reporting, independent audits, transparent data access. Months later, I stood again in the auditorium. Another town hall, but the presentation looked different. No perfect numbers, just honest ones. Investigators continued reviewing records long after the announcement. Years of data had to be verified. And with every week, more inconsistencies surfaced. People whispered in hallways. Who knew about the edits? How long had it been happening? The answers were slowly emerging. Auditors interviewed dozens of employees, technicians, supervisors, managers. Each conversation filled in another piece of the timeline. The conclusion became clear. Safety metrics had been gradually adjusted to protect quarterly performance reports. Executives had been under intense pressure from investors. Improving safety numbers helped maintain confidence. And confidence helped stock prices. But manipulating safety data created something far worse. Risk. Real people working beside machines that weren't as safe as advertised. Eventually, the board of directors stepped in. The investigation had grown too large to ignore. Several senior executives quietly stepped down, officially for leadership restructuring. A new safety director was appointed. Her first announcement was simple. Every report will be transparent. The reporting system itself was redesigned. Edits would now be permanently tracked, visible to everyone. Employees slowly began trusting the process again. Technicians spoke up more openly. Problems were reported earlier. Gallagher stopped by my office one afternoon. You know this investigation started because of you. I shook my head. It started because the data was wrong. But the experience taught me something important. Integrity often feels lonely at first, because truth rarely arrives with applause. The months of tension had taken their toll. Long nights, constant uncertainty. But looking back, I knew staying silent would have been worse. Eventually, industry regulators began reviewing the case. The company's safety policies became a model for reform. Other companies started auditing their own reporting systems. Transparency became a competitive advantage. What started as a hidden data edit had triggered industry-wide change. Work gradually returned to routine. Machines were repaired. Systems improved. But what stayed with me most wasn't the investigation. It was the workers on the factory floor. The people those safety reports were meant to protect. The independent review officially closed 6 months later. Its conclusion was simple. Truth protects people. Numbers protect reputations. At the next annual meeting, the CEO presented the safety report again. This time, the graphs looked different. Some failures had increased, but the room respected the honesty. After the meeting, a technician shook my hand. "Thanks for not letting that go." Standing in the same auditorium where the story began, I realized something. Integrity rarely feels heroic in the moment. It just feels necessary. Sometimes telling the truth changes more than a company. It changes the culture around it. Looking around the room, I understood the real outcome. The betrayal that once silenced the data had forced the organization to confront it. And in the end, accountability replaced illusion. In a world full of noise, thank you for pausing to sit with a story today. If you value thoughtful storytelling about integrity and courage, you are warmly invited to subscribe. I look forward to sharing another story by Emperor.